I
Dabz
probably
hate
wouldn't
him.
take him in the first round.
Dabz hate him.
But I could see him going in the first round.
He is so garbage, y'all. He's so garbage.
I think it's off of traits, not maybe. I think he's kind of raw, but I think it's mostly off of traits. Like, he is big and strong now. Like, I pretty much said here, I'm mad about him. What's up, everyone? We are back with episode 12 of the Brochureless. Hopefully everyone's having a good time leading up to the draft, NBA playoffs, a lot of stuff in the sports world going on, USFL. I'm sure there's probably some other stuff that I'm forgetting. But overall, a lot
baseball
of stuff going on.
too.
Baseball started up. I think the hockey playoffs are going to start soon.
Yeah, they start soon.
It's kind of like prime time to be a sports fan in general. So that's all fun and well. Me and Tay went, was it yesterday, to go see Miggy hit his 3,000th home or hit.
Yes, sir.
A very short list to do it.
One of 33.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So that was cool. I like watching baseball. I hate watching baseball on TV, but I love going to baseball games in person.
Yeah, it was dope for sure. It was dope.
I was thinking about this the other day because it happened. But you know when someone like you know how when you're like doing chores or something, like by your own admission, like you want to go, like you decided you wanted to clean or do something like that, and then someone like asks you to do something like other chores or something like that, or like maybe you're washing the dishes and someone says, "Can you wash them dishes?" or something like that. And you know like how like aggravated you get when that happens? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Right. No, I got you saying, like, because like when I was like when we were like kids and stuff. Are you talking about like when we were like kids or like when you as in like an adult like doing chores?
I'd say just in general, like through life, as long as you like lived with another person when it happened. It probably happened a lot more as kids.
Right. It's just like a feeling that you have, like you like want to like clean up, like, and then when like somebody like tell you to do it, it's just kind of like kill that whole mood. Like I was gonna do that anyway. Like like what I mean. Yeah. So
Now I'm about to make a mess.
Right now I'm about to make a mess. I don't even want to do it no more. Yeah. I've been there for sure.
Bro, I was thinking about just getting like, bro, I work so much, so I work about 60 hours a week. I was really thinking about just getting a maid, bro. Not like
a maid,
not like a maid, but like somebody to come clean the house.
I got you.
Yeah, because I hate that shit. I really get home, I go straight to bed. I throw all my clothes on the ground I wear, and I get in the shower, go to bed. It's bad. I eat, like, just go straight to bed.
I mean, you know, like how much better you feel in general when your house is clean. Like,
it feels so much better.
But you know, like it sucks cleaning. Like cleaning, it sucks taking the time to do all that. So I could definitely understand like why, like even if you got like a cleaner like once a month or something like that to come in for like and just make sure that everything's wiped down, and then they clean stuff better and like stuff that you normally don't clean, like they get in the cracks and everything, all the dust. I remember I was looking for an apartment because I'm about to move. And the rental said it came with like a cleaning person, like it was fully furnished and it came with a cleaning person. Obviously, like because maybe they don't trust renters to like keep up and stuff like that. But I was like, honestly, that's a really enticing offer, like to like say that included in your rental is like a cleaning service.
But the thing with that too, though, like if I have somebody like come over to clean, like I like clean up. I'll probably clean up a little bit before it happened anyway. I don't know.
Right. You're like, I don't want them to think I'm not messy. Right. Like, let me do a little bit cleaning up. Leave a cup or something. Leave a cup or two. Leave some dishes. Yeah, I feel that. I feel that for sure.
But as we discussed, we are going through NBA playoffs right now. I guess me and Tay were hanging out. We watched the Utah-Dallas game. Then later that night, I watched what was after that game? Then there was the
Celtics and the Boston
Celtics
and the Nets.
Brooklyn game, and then it was. I mean, it was 3 good games. I mean, the playoffs have been really entertaining this year.
They've been really entertaining.
So I want to pose this question, and it's going to lead into another question. And I just try and I guess keep it succinct in that. Okay, do you think, and maybe you don't think right now, but within like by the time he retires, do you think Steph Curry will be like a top 10 player all time?
I I think I top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's
I
hard
think
for it's hard for Steph because like the way they system work, it's like a gang up system. It's not like you know isolation basketball. So it's like hard. It's hard, not hard, but he's definitely the best shooter of all time. That can be set in stone. So just being best shooter of all time, even if you retire right now, like I think he top 10. Like if you like
really.
and also change the game of basketball, like not a like top, maybe like 5 people I can say ever changed the game of basketball, and he is one of those 5. So off that alone, but the way they play basketball over there, it's really like mesmerizing. Like if y'all watch the Warriors games, it's really like I just be sitting there in awe. Just the way they whole system work and like Jordan Poole and everything. I just be sitting there in awe. So it's kind of hard to isolate one player with the championships that they got because it's like a team effort. But Steph is definitely just off change of basketball alone. Got to be top 10 if he retire right now. I think
Retire right now?
right to retire right now. Because you like it's how
All
many
right,
people
okay.
can
Is Steph the greatest point guard of all time? Whether you consider
no.
him a point guard or not, because it's the
That's
scoring
the
age. So
thing, though.
it's the advent of the scoring guard, right? So he's not like a true point. But I mean, most point guards right now
Like,
aren't like really true point guards. Like, would you say like he's above? Because there's some people that'll probably say like, bro, Steph. Like, if you are building a team, you're picking Steph over Magic. Like, people will say that, and like, I can't blame you for that.
Yeah.
right. But you got the argument where it's like, okay, we saying like if Steph top 10, like if like will he eventually be top 10? Like you got some people that think like Chris Paul is like the greatest point guard of all time. He's not like the prolific 3-point shooter, and I guess like as threat of a scorer as Steph is, but like if people are the only thing that's missing from Chris Paul, if he already had this, people will probably call him the greatest point guard of all time. So it's just like if he had that championship and we want to move Steph into the top 10 players of all time, it's just like I don't I don't know because the only thing Chris Paul is missing is a championship. That's why people are so hesitant and not calling him the greatest point guard of all time because he don't got a championship yet, and it's like the only thing that he really needs. So, like to go back to like the Steph question, I feel like if he continues like his like dominance and keeps it up, I think it's no doubt that he'll be a top 10 player all time just because like of his impact and how what Dab said how he changed the game. I mean like you got grade school kids pulling up from half court line as soon as they step across the line. So I mean like just his impact and how he changed the game. Like the game is people score the game is faster. You got bigs that are consistently making threes. Like Karl Anthony Towns, Nikola Jokic, Embiid. They moving like point guards because of Steph Curry, because of the threat that Steph Curry created within the NBA. So I feel like eventually, like if he keeps on like this, this dominance that we've seen, he's kind of getting up there in age. He's 30. I think he's 33,
Yeah, he's
right?
not as young as like
He's not
you
a
think he is.
Yeah, he's 33. So I mean, like, and the thing, I guess, the good thing for him is like he's a shooter. So I mean, like,
Yeah.
obviously he's gonna lose like his speed and like his physical abilities are gonna like go eventually deteriorate. But I mean, like, he'll always have that shooting touch. Like, he'll
Yeah,
always
he
have
could
like if
play
you
till he's like 50. He could
yeah
sit in
if
the
you get
corner and play till
if
he's
you get
50.
if you give him like just an ounce of an inch of space, like it's over. Like so, I mean, like that's I guess that's the good thing with him. It's just like yeah, like he probably like we're probably with him. We probably gonna see like a drop off per se. But like compared to like what he was like in his like prime and when he was like just like killing the league and stuff. But I mean, like the good thing for him is like he'll always like he's a shooter and he'll always have like that 3-point ability. So I think eventually like he will enter that top 10. Where he ends up, I don't know. I think it'll probably be like the bottom, the bottom half. Like, would you put him over Kobe? Would you put him over like Magic? I feel like you're gonna have to keep Magic in there. Does he does he I guess leapfrog Bird? I mean, do you take Bird off? I mean, so I think obviously somebody has to come out, but I think eventually he'll probably enter that stage of top 10 of all time.
It's weird because I don't think I don't think he's the best point guard. There's just like a couple point guards I would take as true point guards. If it's just weird because you always go to these arguments and it's like, how would you build your team? And it's like you can build the dynamic however you want to, but the dynamic that the Warriors have right now, it fits. It's like if you want a true point guard, like the one that facilitates everything, passes the ball, more assist based than points based. Like, yeah, I would say that because that's what traditional point guards you think of. But at the end of the day, like I understand when people say like I'm taking Steph over Magic, like because it's stuff Steph can do that like he spreads the floor out for you. Like it just depends on how you build your team. I feel like it's a lot closer than what most people think though. Him being top 10, just because I'm not taking him over Kobe. I'm not taking him over LeBron. I'm not taking him over Shaq. I'm not taking him over Kareem. And
Mike,
I'm not taking him over MJ. But he up there.
I think the thing
Close.
I think the thing that like I think that sets like Magic apart is just because his size and he was playing that point guard position. Like I'm watching like I'm watching like Winning Time, and that's the story about like the Showtime Lakers on HBO, and like it had truly like like they played like pretty much like like they were like one of like the first team to play like positionless like basketball. Like Jack McKinney with his offensive system, like the league had never seen it before, where it was just like uh, you just needed like a ball, not even like a traditional like point guard, but just someone to run the offense. Their fast paced offense to just score as many points as they could. So I think that the thing that just for Magic was why he was so different was because he was so big, but like he was able to like handle the ball well and get others involved and everything. So I mean, like I get both arguments where people will probably take like Steph over Magic, but I would just say right now I would say I would probably take Magic just over Steph just by just a little bit, but just because of just how I guess he how abnormal it was for someone his size to do what he did. Like obviously, like Steph with the 3 point, yes, that's dangerous too. But just like his sheer size alone, like that was like never seen and never heard of. So
Yeah, I think that part of it too is that I mean with the modern day like game of basketball, like I said, it's a lot of scoring guards. Like there's not many true point guards. Or there doesn't have to be because you see a lot of bigs that can facilitate like we talked about with Jokic or I guess Luca. I mean Luca's a point at this point, but I mean he's what 6'6", 6'7" probably or something like that.
yeah, probably like
So
6'7".
yeah. And I'm sure there's some other like I mean like Draymond. I mean Draymond's a facilitator for Steph essentially. So I mean
Yeah.
there's a lot of like other guys. But then
I don't
that
think
that that was just to get I guess me into like another question and that I wanted to ask the same question about KD because and the reason I asked that about when I asked that because I think everyone talks about KD like KD's the best scorer like the best scorer of the basketball ever woo woo and he got a lot of flack for having to go or not having but he went to Golden State to go get the rings and obviously he did a lot of work in OKC and just couldn't get over the hump and then now you get into a position with Brooklyn where you've been the favorite for years now and then now you're down 3-0 to the Boston Celtics who weren't even 500 a couple months ago.
they did have during after the All-Star, they did have the best record in the league though. They both did. I think
Yeah.
they're the number 2 seed, but yeah.
Yeah.
Who knew getting rid of Enes Kanter would would make them a 2 seed after that. He was the anchor for them.
I feel like with KD, like KD is the best scorer of all time, and I know he down 0-3 right now, but KD is for sure the best scorer of all time. And the reason I say that is because when he went to Golden State, like he was the option. Like everything stopped, the whole system stopped. It was KD, and it was like Like he showed like he a better scorer than Steph. He's a better scorer than the best like shooter of all time. That's off rip. He better Kobe. I had like y'all know how much I love Kobe. The man is almost 7 feet tall and can score anywhere. He was shooting with Steph at that time period. Like he is an assassin. Right now, I feel like it's a lot of other factors for the reason why they losing. He also had some injuries at Brooklyn, like, but
I mean, he is playing a big. He is a big reason why they down 3-0.
he is, but like it's a lot more to it. I feel like like the whole argument of the like Steve Nash thing, like the reason why because I just looking at it, like I was looking at Jordan Poole and like how his development worked with Steve Kerr and all that stuff, and like how Steve Kerr developed his like role players. They really don't got a coach, and like I don't think any of the role players really developed well with KD and Kyrie not being available for most of the season, other than like Steve Kerr, right? When they wasn't available, when Clay wasn't available, and when Steph wasn't available, and all that through the season, what Steve Kerr did with that team was develop them, which is something that a good coach does. So I don't think Steve Nash did a good job doing that and is supporting characters in that. Also with Harden leaving, like it's a lot of shit that Brooklyn went through this year. But overall career, KD is a top 10 player. You can't. He better than Larry Bird. He's better than Larry Bird. He's better than. It's hard. It's easy for me to say that. There's no way you sit there and you can name me 10 people you'll take first over Kevin Durant.
I think part of it gets into I guess skill versus I guess accolade argument, kind of like people view like Kyrie as higher player than what he's like shown to be a lot. Like if you look at what Kyrie can offer you, like pretty much scoring at will, like he's arguably a top 20 player all time, but obviously no one's putting Kyrie in their top 20 players all time. I think it's weird too. And it's also subjective on what you consider like the best scorers, right? Because obviously like KD, we know, is a really good 3-point shooter. His mid-range is one of the most efficient in history. I mean, maybe he's not like a really interior guy, but he's almost 7 foot. Like he can pretty much do it all. But then you have a guy like Shaq or Kareem, right, who didn't have deep bags, but they could score at will. And people don't call them like the greatest scorers of all time, but like they scored at will. I guess it matters. I guess what you consider like great scorers.
I guess what
because I personally like because I would personally like. I could understand the argument of someone saying like LeBron is a better scorer than KD because he's been really efficient in the three, especially in like the recent years, almost 40%. He's really good in the post and in the mid range, and he can almost drive at will. Like, I mean, I feel like if depending on like what metrics you're like basing it on,
you off. You're off. You're off, big dog. And the reason why I say that is just because it's skill, but like we are like a skill. Like all of us have the same mindset, I think, for the most part. Because I don't know, tell you like Tom Brady or whatever. But skill is something that like I put over winning because I feel like I played sports like my whole life, and like you know how much factors it is to win a game in general, and like just because other factors prohibit you to go against your career. Like even with LeBron, like I'm more towards like I didn't have LeBron top 5 for a while, but like I got him top 2 now, even though he's not the greatest championship winner. Like it's skill. Like you got to be able to look into like the tape, look into the film, watch games, and say like, hey, this guy is the most skilled player on the court consistently, like the best player on the court consistently. And it might not always equate to wins, but like Kevin Durant is definitely he's had almost triple the amount of scoring titles that LeBron has.
Yeah, but LeBron got one just now at what 37. So doesn't that signify
to us that he got it?
He didn't.
He almost got it at 37. Doesn't that signify to us that like he was telling the truth and that he's like, yeah, I could probably get it every year if I really wanted to. I don't care about that.
Question for y'all. So like, what's the difference between like we saying like you hear like the media say like skill, like the best skilled player. So like, what's the difference between like skill is skilled and all around player like the same, or like when we talk about skill, are we talking about like one aspect
It
of that skill, or is
it
it just like
it depend
are
on
they like
it depend on like what sport you're talking about because like basketball is a little bit different than football, but skill
I'm talking
like
about basketball. I'm talking about basketball in this sense of just like, are we like when we like talk about these players, like because like LeBron is an all around player. Like he's
mhm,
like like offensively, and then like I know he's getting up there in age, but like defensively, like he was a force defensively as well. But
yeah
I
like
mean, like he might like when we say skill, he don't got like the deepest bag, but he can get you a bucket. Like don't be fooled. Like he can get like when he turn it on, he can get you a bucket. He might not have like the bag and like the signature move that we see from like a KD or like a Kobe or like a Kyrie. But don't be fooled. Like he can get you a bucket. That's just not his game because he's a all around player. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I mean, going back to what Dre was saying about the scoring title, like yeah, he could do that, but he wasn't playing a lick of defense for the longest.
When you,
Yeah,
I mean,
like he can he. I mean, like I'm guessing if KD didn't like did show effort on defense, I mean he can drop 40, 50 every night in the regular season. I'm like 90% sure. You can look at his bag, like he can really go ISO and probably score 40, 50 points every game, and he could have probably did it for the last 5 years if he wasn't hurt. Like
Well,
before his
shouldn't he be
injury,
doing it right now when he's down
yeah. I
0-3?
mean,
Like,
like that's the
he's not
thing.
doing
Like
that now.
he not
They
doing that
got
right
him in
now. He's off.
Alcatraz.
He off.
They have him
Everybody,
in out. They have him in Alcatraz as I mean,
yeah,
like
they
a
fucking
lot
him
of
up.
people have like proclaimed him as like the best player in the world, and rightfully like so, because like he's there's an argument there. I'm not gonna say like there's not an argument. I'm not gonna like try to slander KD. Like it's not like that. Like, cause I actually like KD. Like I like LeBron over KD, but like I actually like KD like as a player, and then like off the court like as a personality. So like I don't want to do that, but like he's not doing that now. And like for people to be like proclaim him as like the best in the world, and he's just having like this awful like shooting and efficiency like stretch with this Boston team. It's just it's crazy because I mean, like you, like what you just said, like he can give you 40 and 50, but he's not giving you that right now. You know?
Yeah, I
I
mean,
guess
it's
this,
a,
so. This question goes to because I would say that he like by the time he retires, he'll probably be top 10. Like I know I just kind of talked bad about him, but like I kind of agree. Like he might sneak in at 10. Like him and Steph will probably float around that same area for me. Like it's gonna be around guys like Bird and stuff like that. I'm curious, like, what do you if I swapped Katie and if I plugged Katie's like career, and I know this is like kind of hard to do and like what ifs, but if I put him like onto like because Katie came into the league like as a great scorer and put him onto the Lakers and Kobe wasn't there, how many rings do you think Katie ends up with?
it'd be. I mean, what Lakers? Like what
What's
Lakers you
the
talk about?
The same path that Kobe took. So he'd have Shaq, and then Shaq leaves, and then obviously then it goes to like Lamar Odom, Pau Gasol. Like, does he still win the ones with Shaq? Does he still win
he
all of
went?
the ones without?
I think he get like one, maybe one with Shaq. I don't. Kobe was different, bro.
Yeah,
Different.
I like I love Kobe. Like
Kobe
Kobe.
was Kobe was different, bro. It was just like it's how hard it is to win a championship. Like they three-peated with Shaq, so like winning one is hard. They three-peated, so like I think they get one. I don't think they go back to back because, like I said, like Kobe was just different. He had a way about going about his business and being all in on basketball and everything. So I would say they get one, and especially when Shaq left, I think that he only get one because I
Yeah,
mean, like
because Kobe. The
that's
thing with Kobe,
You
the
think
thing with Kobe,
that he would only get one in that same amount of time? And
yes.
but we're all putting them in like the same like I mean we're putting them in the same
no,
tier of player.
no. The
I
reason
got
why,
Kobe over KD. I got
yeah, the
Kobe over
reason
No,
why,
KD.
yeah, I know you're putting Kobe, but we're probably both putting like LeBron, Jordan, maybe Kareem over Kobe. Then like you're maybe talking like Shaq and Magic and like Bird and Steph like we talked about. So then would come like Kobe and KD. So you have them within like 5 players of each other.
yeah. I mean, I'm
I just
biased,
think
but
there's a
that my
gap. I think there's a gap between them. I just think there's a gap between them, bro. Because I like what Kobe was able to do with that 2010 team when they didn't like he was the only All Star, right? Did Paul Gasol make All Star? I
No,
think he might have been.
he didn't. He was the only All Star. There was no All Star. It was just
Like
him.
what? I don't think Kevin Durant doing that. I just don't think he's doing that. I don't like. Honestly, I don't think
See,
he's
but the
doing
thing with
that.
Kobe, the thing
Leading
with
that
Kobe
team.
is he was playing elite defense. Like he was playing like elite perimeter defense, and still was probably the best scorer in the league. Like Kobe was. That's the thing. KD wasn't like. If you look at it, like yeah, KD is better scorer. Like I would have KD and then Kobe as my two top scorers of all time. But Kobe like was playing perimeter elite defense, like that little impact thing we talk about. Like his team, like he was really elevating his team, especially in 2010. Like he had an it factor about him, and he was a winner. So like all that above it, like pushed me over there. But my list for greatest of all time, like is a little different than what you just described, Dre. But yeah, I don't know.
I'd say I feel like he would get 3. Maybe I'm biased, and I
No
love Kobe.
way. It's no. I don't think. I don't. No way.
I think,
No
and I
shot.
think in that amount of time, I think he for sure gets 2 with Shaq. I
I say 1, bro. I just. Only reason I say that is because like it's
Shaq
so
was the
hard.
best player, arguably in the league at that time. Like Kobe was the 2.
He was the 2, but I mean like that's arguably like the best duo of like all time. Like that dominance during that stretch is arguably the best duo of all time. I'm just saying like it's so hard to win a championship, and like what Kevin Durant is like showing us now.
And Kevin is far more efficient than Kobe ever was. Far more.
But defense, y'all keep forgetting defense.
Yes, but I'm just saying like in a sense of just like I feel like I know what I'm gonna get from KD. I know what I'm gonna get from Kobe. But like in crunch time, like I know 8 or 24, whatever number he was at that time, like
he give me the best chance to win.
I just think it's. I'm not saying like y'all wrong. I just if we're like both talking about these guys being like top 10 or like KD are you being top 10 all time, the guys you're comparing him against are all like guys that like helped carry franchises. I mean, even like Steph like did a lot for Golden State, and
but KD ain't carried a franchise.
No, he didn't. But you're saying he's top 10, and you're putting him around a lot of guys
I eventually top 10, but like
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like in a few years, he's probably gonna be top 10. If he does, let's say he doesn't win another ring, he never carried a franchise to a championship, but all these other guys that are around him have carried like teams to championships. So you're saying that he's around all these guys that led franchises for years or probably decades, won them multiple championships. He's right around them, but he wouldn't be able to slot in with one of them and win more than one championship.
The Kobe argument was different. Now, if I say like, it's hard, bro. It's so hard for us to do this because it's a bunch of what ifs. But like the Kobe argument is just a little different because Kobe like was. It's hard.
Like all these guys that like we put in like our top 10. Like at some point, like they did like carry a franchise. I know like Dabz made a statement earlier, and like KD went to Golden State, and like like how they was how he was like the guy at like Golden State, but like Golden State had like Steph, they had Clay, and they had KD. So like at that point, it's just like you got to kind of pick your poison up, but just like who it is you want to focus on, because it's just like you can get killed by 3 different ways. And then they got good role players too. So it's just like all these guys in like the top 10, they have carried a franchise at some point, and I don't think Kevin Durant has done that.
Yeah, I mean
he carried OKC for a minute, but it never got him anywhere.
Yeah, that's for us.
Yeah, because he had to run into Golden State.
It never got him anywhere. But even before Golden State, it never got him anywhere.
But the thing is with the Golden State thing, when he did play and they won them championships, like I don't know if y'all remember, but like Steph was non-existent. Like in the end, like in the finals, in the playoffs, like he
non-existent.
I won't say non-existent. I won't say non-existent, but like it's Steph Curry in the end. Like an off night for him, he might have like an off night 15.
They're taking Steph before KD in that franchise.
Yeah, they are.
I'm saying like even in that situation, like if they said like, all right, you can only move forward the rest of this playoff series with Steph or KD, they're taking Steph. because he's more integral to how that system ran. Maybe he wasn't putting up as many points, but like, I mean,
he was off. That's like his one knock is like in the playoffs and finals, like he don't show up. Like he didn't show up. Like that's one of his biggest knocks. Is like even when they like Iguodala won the MVP, like he was still like Steph. I mean, I'm just not saying like he was like a
Iguodala shouldn't have won that MVP.
Yes,
though. That was nasty as hell. That was nasty.
What do you mean?
That was. What do you mean? What do I mean? Steph was the best player on that team. If they don't have him, the impact, like
in the finals, because I mean, like they was talking about LeBron James should have won the MVP over Iguodala. They was about to give LeBron the Jerry West treatment, lose the finals and still win MVP. But they had to give somebody from Golden State the MVP because, like,
Iguodala was every time Iguodala was guarding LeBron, the best player on the court, he was under 30% shooting, and every time he was doing it, he was in clutch time. 40. I know.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
he was still
putting up numbers. It's not like he was guarding him for 40 minutes. Like,
but it was also, the statistics don't show like the clutch time, like defensive efforts that Iguodala was showing. Like you can't see that because he's still dropping 30.
It's just wild how he won that. Like what is that? Like it's
that's
wild how
that's
he
foul
won the
that he
finals
won
MVP
that, bro.
That
is
Steph
foul
didn't.
to me.
That's just crazy. Like I ain't saying like he shouldn't have, but it's just like crazy. Like dang.
Nah, he shouldn't. I'm saying he shouldn't have.
Who should have won? Steph?
Yes, Steph.
Steph,
bro, go look at the stats of that series, bro. Why would you give it to Iguodala?
Because Iguodala was a pivotal part in that with Dub. He was the one.
It must have been some reason because like the league loves Steph, so it must have been like I gotta go back to like to that defense. Finals, but like that's what I'm saying. Like it was some reason why he didn't win it because like obviously you got to give it to Steph Curry, but they didn't because the league loves Steph Curry. So like why wouldn't they give it to like? You gotta see like averages and stuff like that because like I don't know like Andre Iguodala was pretty clutch in that finals too. Like we're making plays. Obviously, like he didn't like he can only do so much with LeBron James, but like you know in pivotal moments he made pivotal stops and everything, he made some key shots and stuff. So I mean like it's just wild how he won it and like Steph didn't, which is crazy because like we lift Steph Curry up as like you know the greatest.
Steph averaged 26, 5, and 3. And 2 steals.
26,
on
5, and
4 on like 38% from 3. Like it's not even close in my opinion.
26, 5, and 5 rebounds?
5 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals.
I was trying to find the game by game.
Really. Like I know it was a reasoning behind Steph not getting it because it's just like maybe it was like a quiet 26. It wasn't like an explosive 26. Like
I know why. It's because Iguodala was doing a lot of the legwork guarding LeBron. Because that's the only reason it could be because it wasn't scoring output by any means, and it wasn't like clutch. Like he was being a solid player for the team, but
I mean the first three games he was averaging like negative. He was like plus minus was like -4, -3, -4 for the first 3 games. It's bro. It's like. I don't know. Iguodala was like, if you remember watching that game, like Iguodala was locking Bron up in clutch time. Like it wasn't, and he was balling. He was balling defensively, I would say. So that's kind of why. I mean, being -3, -4 for 3 games of a finals is not like.
Fuck, LeBron averaged 36, bro.
LeBron still averaged. He did average 36. He was the only.
36, 13, and 9, bro. Yeah, they probably should have given it to LeBron, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
That's all. I was like, they should have Jerry West that because there's no way you get Andre Iguodala. Like he had like some key like Dad said, like he had some key like clutch defensive plays and then like big shots. So I mean, like you know,
it wasn't his most efficient series though.
Yeah, like everybody is always big on like the moments and stuff like that. So I mean, like I guess like Andre Iguodala's, as weird as it to say, his moments were bigger than Steph Curry's, and like you can't like it's very rare because there's only one person that's done it, Jerry West. You win a Finals MVP and lose. So it's just like everybody was saying like LeBron, like it was a good number of people that were saying LeBron should have probably won MVP even though he lost. But like you really can't give the Finals MVP to the loser because it makes no sense because they lost the championship. So
I didn't even know it was possible.
They gave it
possible. He got votes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, this is super tangential. I got us way off course here, but I don't know. It's interesting. So we'll see. I mean, who do you guys think will win the playoffs? I guess who do you think will make it out of the East and the West, and then
I got
who do
this.
you
I got.
will
I
win?
think I got the Celtics making it out the East. I think it'll be like this. I think it'll be the Celtics versus the Bucks if they don't play each other in the next round. I don't know how the seeding works. I think the Bucks are the third seed, so they might see each other hopefully in the finals. But I got the Celtics making it to the East, and if nobody stop, I don't think nobody gonna stop the Warriors in the West because
So the Bucks and Celtics will play next round if they both
okay,
advance.
dang. That'll be a good semifinals round. But I got the Celtics coming out. I think Tatum and Jaylen Brown have grown. It's crazy how people tried to break them up and just not give them a chance.
I remember that.
And not give them a chance to just work it out and get through growing pains and stuff. But they both grown up. They're both all stars. And Tatum's a superstar. He's easily gonna be a top 10 player next year.
Bag.
He been in his bag. He been mouthing KD, bro. It's been nasty how he been treating. It's been nasty how he been treating KD, bro. It's been that like on the offensive end and the defensive end, it has been gross. I'm like, KD, fight back. Fight back, bro. Please fight back. It's been nasty, but Jason Tatum's a superstar. Jaylen Brown is an all-star. They got a great team too. Like their team has length and like they can like play defense like everywhere from like the wings to the bigs. They can play defense with anybody. So I got
on the other side of the East, sorry, just to the other side that who would play the winner of them if the Bucks and Boston advance, it'd be the winner. So the Miami or Atlanta will play the winner of the Sixers and Toronto.
I got the Sixers coming out the East. The Sixers
really?
coming out the East. Yeah.
If they fouling Joel Embiid 30 times a game, yeah, I would. No,
bro, they can't do nothing else. You can't stop Joel unless foul.
Who's that? Dabz, who they coach?
I don't know.
Doc Rivers. He gonna find a way to choke.
I thought I really liked the Sixers until like 2 games ago, and I was like,
no,
I don't like. If
the Sixers make it to the finals, go Warriors! I'm gonna be a Warriors fan. Let's go.
Is Chris Middleton out indefinitely?
I think he's out for like. He out for a good minute.
I got the 76ers, bro.
I would probably pick the Bucks.
Really?
But that like.
They got the best player in the NBA on their team.
Joel Embiid?
Yes.
I think Giannis is the best player.
Better than Giannis? I know we in the moment. I know we like to get.
It's the moment. That's what I'm talking about.
Moment. I know, but like, come on, bro. We just like, yeah. Look, I'm gonna say this. I know I picked the Celtics to make it out, but I just say that because they got the overall. I think they got like the overall best team in the East, like from top to bottom, and just how like they operate and they defend. But like, I feel like we do this every postseason where we just forget about Giannis. We forget about how good he is. That's the best player in the league. If we keep it in the stack, that's the best player in the league. I know a lot of people don't, like a good number of people don't want to say it. That is the best player in the league. That is the best. I know Joel is probably like I guess, you know, the one of the moving into the favorite.
I might take Jokic over Joel. I ain't gonna hold you.
Huh?
I might take Jokic over Joel.
It's an argument for both. I'm not gonna say because Joel been playing.
That's a team building thing, though. I also, and like you said, like Joel lives off the free throw line. Like it's really different if
free throw
you aren't getting
bro.
all that.
You got to. You can't stop him.
No.
You can't stop him.
No. Because the crazy thing is the same. Like you look at like some games and like it's something about Joel Embiid where the refs are so like they whistle happy and they'll call it. And yeah, it's on the players like to not like foul, but some of them be like it's just him flopping. Like you seen that one picture where him and James Harden was both on the ground. Come on,
that shit was funny.
Come on, bro. That's so foul, bro.
It is so wild to me how he feels like he has like the right to complain and shit like that. Like you get so much.
That's so foul, bro. I can't see them in the finals.
So who do you guys think makes out the West then?
Golden State.
Warriors. The Suns is hurt. Denver down.
Warriors.
Memphis and the Timberwolves are too young. I think they got probably like another year or two. But Warriors,
Yeah.
as long as D Book that hamstring not gonna get healed in 2 weeks. I'll tell you that right now. He gonna be like AD was. He gonna come back and he gonna hurt us some more.
So Tay, you got Warriors versus Boston. Dabs, you got Warriors versus Sixers. How many games and who's winning?
Warrior.
Hmm.
If it's Warriors or Sixers, bro, it's so weird because the way they play, the Sixers play, like that's a good matchup for them, just because they slow the game down. They're probably the best team to slow the whole game down, and like they got the big man behind it, and the Warriors don't. So like that's a bad matchup for the Warriors, I think. I mean, unless they just push the pace the whole time, which they could, but like it's gonna be a tough game. I say game 6, maybe either way for 76ers and the Warriors, just because how they play, like the
So
matchup.
you don't think it goes to game 7? You think it's 6 games, one way or the other?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I don't think we get a game 7 this year.
Tay, how you feeling?
If it's Warriors versus Celtics, I say it goes to 7 games. I don't know. I don't know how they records stack against each other with like who would get the last game. But I say it's 7 games because I don't. The Warriors, they don't have Kaminga back either. So I think that eventually if they go further, I think they'll get him back. So they'll be like a added addition. I know they're missing who's a big it was a big that they lost for the season that they drafted like 2 years ago. I know they lost him. I forgot his name, but I think they both match up well. I think that would be like the ratings will be off the roof for that too because I feel like people who are starting to people they were starting to follow who he was last year, Jason Tatum. But I feel like people really starting to catch on and be like, yo, this dude is like next up. Like he's that guy. Like he is him. Like he is he is that guy. So I feel like the ratings will be off the roof for that Boston versus Warriors matchup. And I think it goes 7 games. I'm gonna just go with Boston because I feel like they defend. But I think they the best defensive team in the league, and I feel like and it's like I feel like in all sports. I mean, with just like football and basketball in general, like we put emphasis on scoring a lot, but like at the end of the day, you got to get stops. Like, and it matters to an extent how many stops you get, but it's like when you get them because it builds like because you can the momentum, you can steal momentum, and then you can carry that on to to a win perhaps. So I say it goes 7 games, and I got Boston winning it all because I think they're the best overall team in the league.
What's the odds for what's the odds for Brooklyn right now? I'm putting money on it. It's no way Brooklyn gets swept, bro. It's no way.
Dabs, bro.
The
Steve
odds
Nash
in which
can't
they
cut.
don't get
Coach,
swept,
No, like
or the
I'm talking
odds
about
that they
next
win the
game.
championship.
No, that they win the
Oh,
next game. That's what I want to put money on it bad. It's
they
no
getting
way,
they bring the brooms out. They getting swept.
bro. It's no way. It's no way. If the odds really like bad for Brooklyn, or like I'm like the odds are really down. Like I want to say like minus plus 500 around there, then I'll bet. But if
They
not,
getting they getting swept, bro. I hate to see KD go out like this, but I know Twitter gonna be nasty.
I'm gonna look it
Twitter
up.
gonna be Twitter gonna be nasty, bro.
Yeah,
It was nasty last time. I was like, wow, it's a nasty agenda.
I can't find it quickly.
I'm pulling it up right now. I just gotta do the Face ID for my app.
I'll probably I hate that Chris Middleton is out, but there's a few more games left, and if they can pull out the Chicago series, and maybe that, let's say that takes a couple more weeks, or like a week or two.
Wow, the odds are in their favor.
I think I'll take Milwaukee out the East because of Giannis, but I don't feel very confident in picking anyone from the East right now, to be honest. I guess Boston probably should be the more objective pick. I'm being subjective and picking Giannis. And then I still think they lose to Golden State, though, in like 6.
They giving the Nets 1.5, and the Celtics are plus 100 to win. Which ain't makes sense because like sweeping is probably. But God, that's not right. That can't be right. It is right.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, that's who I got coming out. So it should be interesting though. It will be very interesting.
Well, that'll be fun to watch. I'm looking forward to. I've been so busy with work, right? I haven't been able to watch that much basketball. So like yesterday, it was nice to be able to sit down and just watch like 3 games back to back to back. But we'll see what happens. I guess it's a less predictable year than usual. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's good for the league though.
Yeah, this is good for the league. I like this.
Like when you don't like when you don't have like LeBron in the playoffs and everything, and you got different storylines that you can focus on, and different players that were balling in the season but didn't really get the publicity because they're not household names yet. So no, I think that's good.
It's nice to see guys too like Ja and Anthony Edwards and Luka, Devin Book, like all these essentially now up and coming like leaders in the league. It's so weird how like we've slowly seen like phased out like our generation of I don't know like superstars that we grew up watching, like the LeBrons, the Carmelos, the Wades, etc. So it's interesting for sure, but it's the evolution of the game. But
yes, sir.
That's NBA playoffs. Maybe we'll get back to it towards the finals or something like that. But coming up on Thursday, we have the NFL draft. Another super unpredictable time in the league. So unpredictable NBA playoffs, and we have an unpredictable NFL draft. I guess unpredictable for some because Joshua Dabney has a crystal ball. And he knows what's going to happen in the NFL draft. He knows more than anyone in the league. All your sources. When you see like someone tweet per sources, they're referring to Joshua Dabney.
Per Dabz.
Let's see what the crystal ball has to say about the NFL draft.
All right, cool. So this is my crystal ball prediction for top 5 draft picks. The 5th pick I'm not going to speak on because I'm going to leave that up to the viewers, okay? You guys can get back to us, tweet us back, and see who you think will be the number 5. But number 1, I have Evan Neal to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going to do a brief reason. I feel like the Jags have made a very, 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 very bad, not terrible offseason moves, but they were risky. So, I mean, picking Aiden, it seems less and less like risky, but I feel like they need to solidify a generational player, the best tackle in their draft, and Evan Neal. He will be a future Hall of Famer. I got him up there just because of his athleticism, and also just same thing.
You see that video of him doing that split box jump or whatever, bro? Dog, he does not look like he weighs 350. That shit was wild.
Like he is solid.
Yeah, he's not a loose 350 for sure.
It reminded me of like Tristan Wirfs. Like Tristan Wirfs was a great player.
Yeah, he's a freak.
The Bucks
coming out. He jumped out the pool.
Yeah, so it kind of reminded me of that. If you can get at least Tristan Wirfs, the Jacksonville Jaguars need it. I don't know. Aiden's kind of like Aiden's weird, but number 2 I got for the Lions, Aiden Hutchinson. They need an edge rusher the most. I know I wanted the Malik Willis train, but looking at it from a different perspective and not from a fan perspective, more like a football knowledge perspective, we need to get Aiden. I think he'll be a great fit in Detroit. It'll uplift the city. I think Aiden is the pick at number 2. If Evan Neal goes number 1. Next, I got Trayvon Walker for the Houston Texans. I have that pick just because, like I said, edge. His draft stock has just been rising out of control. Trayvon Walker to the Houston Texans because they need to build some type of foundation, and Trayvon can help them do that. They're not picking a quarterback, I don't believe, with the moves they made. Number 4, I got Garrett Wilson. Shout out to Tay. Garrett Wilson to the New York Jets.
Zone 6.
Zone 6.
Zone 6.
Yep. Ohio State native. I'm going to the Jets just because the Jets have a pretty good team from the foundation aspect. They need some more firepower over there, especially to keep up with the AFC. Garrett Wilson, I believe, is the number one wide receiver in this draft class. So they go ahead and take the secure pick at number 4, which is good value. And then New York, I want to leave it up to you guys. Who would be the number 5 pick for New York off the top of y'all heads?
It's crazy that you left that 5th pick open because I was just talking to Dre about the Giants yesterday,
Yeah, we were.
And I was in this I was listening to a Spaces. I forget the dude that conducted, but it was pretty good because it was New York Giants Spaces, and they were talking about what they should do with the 5th pick, and like this one dude came on, and he basically just asked like, why shouldn't the Giants take Malik Willis? Like, because it makes the most sense to take him. I mean, and when he presented his points out, the more and more he said, I was like, you know what? That actually does make sense because you look at it, the Giants, they don't have a terrible roster. They got decent to they got good to potentially like superstar receivers. They got Kadarius Toney. I think they got Darius Slayton. Obviously Kenny Galladay, he didn't score a touchdown last year, but you hope he rebounds from that. They got Saquon Barkley. I mean, they got a decent to solid defense. You obviously probably need some more players in the back, some more playmakers in the back end. But like the Giants aren't going to next year. They're not going to be in the market to get a top 3 quarterback next year because they're not going to be in the top 3 slots next year. Like they're not going to be 3 of the worst teams next year because of just the roster that they have. So like when he presented all those points, I was like, you know what? They got a new coach. They got a new GM. Daniel Jones is pretty much 1 foot out the door already. I mean, why not if you're New York? Why not? I mean, you pick him. All right, now it's the Giants' responsibility to make sure that he's developed, that he's prepared to go in there and take the keys to the franchise. Because honestly, he don't got to play right away. They got Tyrod Taylor. And they got Daniel Jones. He could literally not play for a year. That could be like his red shirt, where you literally give him like the Patrick Mahomes treatment.
His dabble, like he did Josh Allen.
Like he did, yeah. Like you give him the Patrick Mahomes treatment, and he not have to play a year because you got one in Tyrod Taylor who's he's a bridge quarterback, but he's a solid starter for you. Where obviously he'll win you some games, still lose you some games, but at this point in the New York Giants, you kind of just looking for signs. You're looking for signs of where our team can go. So I mean, you're as far as just sense wise, I think it will make the most sense for them to go get Malik Willis because I mean, you're not gonna be in the market next year to get C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young or whatever. Because I'm pretty sure there'll be a 3rd quarterback that has a stellar season and they go crazy and stuff. So I mean, you're not gonna be in the market because the team's not that bad. They're bad, but they're not terrible. So I mean,
you agree with
they could very well be picking in the late teens. Yeah.
That's what my whole argument with the Lions was.
I don't think that applies to the Lions. That's my
no.
difference.
I don't. I think the New York Giants got a better roster than
the Giants. I think should do better than the Lions.
Yeah.
And the Giants also don't pick 2. If the Giants got to pick 2, I think you take the top pass rusher, the tallest 2. Right. Because I mean, we had this conversation in our 2 weeks ago or maybe 3 weeks ago on positional value. We all value edge above, or no, not we. I valued quarterback, I guess. So maybe I'm arguing against myself, but I think the 2 of you both valued edge above quarterback or something along those lines.
Yeah.
So obviously there is an argument to be made about as to whether drafting an edge above a quarterback is a viable option, which I think we all think is.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of why I made the crystal ball for Aiden. Even if I didn't get Aiden, I'll probably go Trayvon or Thibodeau. Honestly, I like Thibodeau a little bit better, but.
So he drops over. So you got. I see you had Walker at 3. So Kayvon drops out of top 5 for you. I know you didn't have nobody. Nobody for 5, but.
I was gonna say Thib at 5. Or Kyle Hamilton. Maybe they make a stretch for Kyle. I know he's dropping, but I was going to say Thib at 5. It just depends on what you looking for. Trayvon going up the draft board though. That's the only reason why. But if Aiden gets picked, I really hope we pick Thibodeau just because of the upside potential. Trayvon's is a more like solid pick, safer pick. But I just want somebody. I just want us to take like a chance. It's kind of like we've been playing it safe a little bit.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I guess so. I'll just get straight into, because I actually aligned with some of your picks, and I was a little surprised. Like after I started like thinking about it, because me and Dabz disagree a lot on a lot of things, but we agreed a little bit. So I'll just get straight into it. So I have my mock, at least my first round, but I think I'm gonna finish up tonight, and it's gonna be a 3-round mock. And I'm gonna write up the first 2 rounds, so everything will be explained there, maybe a little bit more detail. But I also have Evan Neal going first overall, mostly because I think he's the best player in the draft. I agree that he could probably be a Hall of Fame offensive tackle. Probably he's not like a road grader.
He's a freak, man.
But Trevor shouldn't get touched. Like day one, Trevor shouldn't get touched, and I think that you invested into Trevor. We know their owner's really involved there. Like, you protect your investment. I don't care about like your defense and all that type of stuff. Like that comes before anything else, because the first year looked rough. Considering people were talking about comparing like Trevor Lawrence to someone like Andrew Luck and all these people coming out and this generational thing. Like, you have to fix that ASAP.
That's true.
So then I end up being Aiden number 2. And it's funny because like months ago, I remember when the Jags were first being mocked Evan Neal, everyone was like debating Aiden or Kayvon at 2. And then it went to, oh, the Jags are taking Aiden. So then like in my mind, I'm like, okay, so then who do you take at 2? It went from to Trayvon or Kayvon. But now Aiden's here. I think I've risen on Aiden a little bit. Like his speed to power is so good. Like it is really good, and he is really strong. Probably like one of the safest floors of any edge in the draft. So I agree there.
The only thing with the Aiden thing, like from a defensive line standpoint, he like lacking a bag a little bit.
He doesn't have like a move set.
He did have like that one, like the last year he was there. It was like that 1 year of just like good production too. Because I was looking at his stat, and I think like he was there. Was he there all 4 years or 3?
I think 4. I think he came back.
Like the first year, he didn't have any stats.
COVID. He stayed at COVID, so it was
because he could have came out last year.
Right. Yeah. So just a little bit of production, but that last year was dominant. So.
Yeah. You can develop pass rush moves, so that's why I'm not worried about it. Like, pass rush is an easy thing you can do.
He just seems like a Campbell guy too.
They said sacks is overrated. They said sacks is the overrated stat. To be honest, too. So
he never was like moved, and that's also a good thing. Like no one ever moved him. Whereas I necessarily, even though I like Kayvon a lot, I don't think I can say that like all the time, because he's not like the same type of edge player as Aiden. Like Aiden's a little bit bigger. He's definitely stronger. He might not have like that pure like rush ability that Kayvon does. But then we get to number 3. This is where we differ from Dabz.
Hold on. A quick question with Dabz. Hey, Dabz. So like, I was saying like sacks is like overrated stats. So like, do you like for like is hurry? Do you think like hurries are more important? Obviously, sacks you get into the quarterback, but like, what do you think about like hurries?
Hurries is like damn near is just as important. I mean, if you got 1 sack on the game with like 10 quarterback hurries, like obviously like it's not gonna look like you had like monster pass. Like, but if you can affect the play, just like I talked about Aaron Donald. Like if you can affect the play, because Aaron Donald doesn't. I mean, he gets sacks, but it's not like he gets so many quarterback hurries. Like when I watch those games, like it's ridiculous, and it affects the play every single time. Like if you can do that, then you are an elite pass rusher. I know you might not have the double-digit sacks in your column. But if you can get pass rush moves and develop that, my comp to Aiden is Max Crosby. And Max Crosby has developed pass rush moves every single year. He's gotten more and more of a bag than just like his motor. If we can get that at the Lions, like I know, like draft position, whatever. Like if I can get Max Crosby, prime Max Crosby, I'm fine with that. Like that's fine. So yeah, quarterback hurries is pretty important.
Yeah, I agree. If someone said like if Max Crosby could like start over and be like 21, 22 coming out of college, and I knew he was gonna produce, and he starts out just producing the way he does now on a rookie deal, I would take that at the second pick 10 times out of 10.
Yeah, I was following Max. He was great in college. This is a little overlooked.
Yeah, Eastern Michigan product. Number 3, I have Ikem Ekwonu, the offensive tackle at NC State, to the Houston Texans. I can understand pretty much any position here though, because that roster is anemic. Like I can't name anybody. Anybody.
Only person you can name is Brandon Cook.
Yeah,
he just signed an extension too.
It's Brandon Cooks, Laramie Tunsil, and Justin or Davis Mills, and
they got rid of
Justin Reed's gone. So the one player you had is gone, and then David Johnson's old ass back there. Like,
they got David Johnson. I think they had Mark Ingram at one point. Philip Lindsay.
Yeah,
like it was just like
steep. So you don't. And Laramie Tunsil has 2 years left. Titus Howard, I don't think is what they hoped he would be. So Ikem can play guard or tackle. Obviously, eventually you want him to be your tackle, but he's definitely the second best offensive line prospect in this draft. He's super versatile. But like we talked about, this draft is so unpredictable. I wouldn't be surprised if I got every single one of these picks wrong. I got like 9 picks right last year, or like positionally, like the teams drafted those players. I wouldn't be surprised if I got every single one wrong. So then that leaves number 4 to the Jets. I got Kayvon going, mostly just because Saleh needs an edge rusher, and he's arguably might be the best one right now in the class. And I heard they had a really good meeting with him. So, I mean, he's been number 1 on people's boards for like probably 3 years now. So, top 5 is fine. And then we get to number 5, which Dabz asked, and I didn't answer yet. Since both tackles are gone, and arguably edge 1 and 2 are gone, Trayvon is still there, and I can understand him completely. I understand like the hype around Trayvon. I actually think that if Jacksonville doesn't take a tackle, I think they take Trayvon before they take Aiden, even though I don't rank Trayvon above him. Just because he's like so versatile and that he could like bump into like a 3-tech or out to the edge, and he's so athletic. It is kind of insane. I'm not gonna lie. But I think at number 5, the Giants take Charles Cross. I think we talked about this. Like, if Daniel Jones can't do it with like a now solid O-line, you help Saquon. You've had like the offensive weapons. If like Dabble, you can't get it out of him like with this now at this point. Like, it's garbage. Like, it's time to start looking again. I probably think it is probably already time to start looking, as we just talked about.
Yeah, I think they're looking already.
You know for sure, like, if you've given him everything that you could possibly ask for.
Yeah.
So at number 6, what do you guys think the Panthers, like, because there's like I guess it's like a Matt Nagy situation, right, that the Panthers are kind of in right now. Like, you've underproduced, and there's talks of them taking a quarterback, or they take another position. You're probably on the hot seat if you're Rule and Fitterer. Fitter, I don't know how you say his last name.
You said, what are we thinking?
Yeah. What do you think? Like, do you think he tries to like save his job and take a quarterback, or do you think they take like an offensive tackle or like whatever position?
I think they're doing it
because they don't need defense. Their defense is really good for the most part. It's really young. Yeah.
Just gotta stay healthy and yeah. What's I'm gonna ask? Is Cam still on the roster, or is he on a 1-year deal?
I don't think he's on the roster.
He's not. It's I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Kenny.
Because like, okay, we got both. Like, on your mock, you got both. You got Evan gone, You got the dude from NC State gone.
The three tackles are gone.
The three tackles are gone. So I mean, where did the other tackles mock? Probably not in the top 10, right?
Yeah,
probably later.
Yeah.
So it'd be like kind of like a reach if they went, with a tackle that was mocked later. Yeah, I mean, for Matt Rule, because I think that Sam Darnold experiment is done. I think everybody in that organization cooked regardless.
Yeah.
Regardless of what they do. I think they just all just cooked because Ben McAdoo made that statement about Sam being a starter. Then he came back like 30 minutes later saying he's not the starter. So I think Matt Rule makes an attempt to save his career and go get a quarterback like maybe a Kenny Pickett or something. But it's not going to be enough because I feel like it's already pretty much done.
So I agree. I think they take a quarterback, but I actually have him taking Matt Corral because I think he can run like the system that you thought you were going to be able to run with Sam Darnold better than Kenny Pickett would. End of the day, it's still a quarterback. I don't think anyone's like super, super high on a lot of the quarterbacks in this draft, but I think he can run like the RPO quick game, and he's probably a better athlete. So, yeah, they try and save their job, but probably inevitably get fired like Maggie did.
Mm-hmm.
Which leaves probably like two top players on a lot of people's boards, like Sauce and Trayvon are still on the board. Obviously, like Jameson Stingley's still on the board, Kyle Hamilton. But then at 7, I got Sauce going to the Giants. Even though we were talking to you about Adoree Jackson yesterday, how they got Adoree, and obviously they got James Bradbury, and was it McKinney? Is it Trayvon McKinney? Xavier McKinney. Yeah.
Xavier McKinney is a safety, free safety.
Yeah, he's a safety. So I mean, it's kind of like BPA here. I mean, Sauce is arguably a top 3 player in the draft, and you can't really like just pass it up regardless of what you think you have.
Yeah.
And then that leaves the Atlanta Falcons, who is probably like Houston's roster is bad, bro, but the Falcons roster is like competing, nasty. Bro. Like it's AJ Terrell, Kyle Pitts, end of list. Like that's it.
Well, it might be better than the Texans because we only named Brandon Cooks.
It might be marginally.
Who you said they're picking?
The Falcons got 2 Pro Bowl rollers.
So I have him picking Trayvon here. There's proximity to Georgia, and I prefaced in my statement in my write-up in that I think that if Trayvon started falling to 8, there's a chance that someone could come up to like the Panthers or the Giants and try and get him. But I didn't do trades in this, so I had him falling to 8 here, and I think it's kind of like a steal. I mean, I think one of the highest upside players in the draft for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. They kind of got Yeah.
Where's your receiver going?
Well, you at 10 right now, right? Let's see what he's
I'm at 9. We're at 9. So this is Seattle's pick from the Broncos.
They're not picking a receiver.
They aren't picking a receiver. And Pete Carroll is just so full of himself, bro. I don't think I put in here I think Pete Carroll doesn't think that he needs an elite quarterback to run his offense. And I think he's right in how he feels about that. But I don't like how he runs his offense. So that's like the thing here is that like he could justifiably take Malik Willis, but I don't think he needs Malik Willis. But I think Pete probably needs Malik Willis or someone here but Pete
where
just
the
wants
fuck is Baker going? Is he going?
I think Baker doesn't. I think Baker gets cut and someone signs him. I don't think anyone wants to trade for him.
Yeah.
I mean, the draft is coming up. It could happen during.
They did him so bold, bro.
But no, I have them taking, and I don't think this should be the pick. I want to preface this. I don't think this should be the pick, but this seems like some Pete Carroll shit to take Trent McDuffie here. Like he hasn't had like a cover 3 lockdown corner since like Richard Sherman left essentially. And that's his system. Trent McDuffie's went to Washington, so there's like the proximity to the Pacific Northwest. I'd say like Trent's probably in like the top like 3 corners in the draft though. So like I don't think it's a bad pick. It might be a reach slightly and it might not be the right pick, but I just think it's some shit that Pete Carroll would do.
All right, that point, yeah, fair point.
And then you finally get your receiver to the Jets at 10. And
Who is it?
Arguably, they don't have this pick, arguably, to draft a receiver because they could use it to get Debo. But if they don't use it to get Debo, I think it ends up being a receiver. And I actually have them taking Jameson Williams. Even though
Really?
you guys know I'm not as high on Jameson as like maybe the consensus. I have him top 5, but he's not my number 1. I think it's mostly because like they were going to spend a bag for Tyreek. They were going to pay him $100 million, and they were going to trade 2 firsts for him. So in my opinion, like that just tells me what they want in a receiver really bad. I mean, Jameson like arguably is that. Obviously, he's not an NFL receiver, so we don't know if he will be that. But if that's what you're looking for, you get it without $100 million deal and spending 2 first-round picks.
Right.
I like it.
I mean, he probably not gonna be back till about like later half of the season.
Yeah,
but, I mean,
no, I
it's a
agree.
more of
I
a-
think Joe Douglas probably realized like we aren't about to go to the Super Bowl this year. And granted, you could say like, oh, the Cincinnati Bengals didn't either, but like I'm not using the exception to the rule. Like I think they can realize that we don't need Jameson for the full season.
Right.
Yeah.
When you find that point, I mean, I've seen a lot of people that have like Jameson Williams hasn't moved from their number 1 receiver because he got hurt, and that's a fair point because like he had like during the season he had, if not the best, he had one of the best, one of the best receiving years out of all the receivers taken statistically and impact. So yeah, if he were to go first, I wouldn't be like shocked because it's more of just like, oh well, we know he's not gonna be playing like soon, but it's just when he come back, what he can be. So I wouldn't be. At first initially I was cause, like you're not gonna get the impact right away, and for like fans and stuff, they want like that, especially like top 10 and first round pick. They want to see their first round picks out there playing like right away. So no, if he went first, I wouldn't be. The more I think about it, I wouldn't be shocked just because of what you could potentially be getting once he is healthy.
So then we come to the good old Commanders.
Who they gonna take?
And this is another pick that I wouldn't make, but I could see them making. And he's not in my top 5, but the world loves Derek Stingley, and I think they see what he could be, and they're like, all right, we'll take the shot. Like, all right, we don't have anyone in our back half of the defense. Our front 7 is. We shouldn't need to add any more to the front 7. It probably wasn't what they wanted it to be, but they shouldn't need to add any more to the front 7. Their offense isn't bad. And I think it's too early. Like I'm not giving them one of the interior offensive linemen, even though I think that's justifiable here after losing Brandon Scherf. But people are talking about Derek Stingley being a top 5 draft pick. I think they take the shot on it. Like I said, it's not the pick I would make, but I guess I can't name a DB on that team right now. So
yeah, I'm trying to think.
I mean, the only one I did know was Landon Collins, and
yeah,
he's not even there anymore. Does Josh Norman still play there?
No. Hell no, he ain't been.
I don't know where Josh at all.
Josh was
he was last on the Bills, right?
He was at the 49ers this past year, but he was playing a reserve role because he got benched a couple times.
Good old Josh Norman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
okay.
They probably need a DB, so yeah.
Number 12, the Minnesota Vikings, taking some people's number 1 player in the draft, and Kyle Hamilton, and this is just mostly because the best player in the draft. To some people, fell to you. You've been looking for DBs forever, I feel like. I don't feel like
they really have though.
Anything. Their offense doesn't need anything. They got Zadarius. I don't know if they re-signed. Daniil's still there, obviously. So, just get an immediate impact player, and hopefully you use him well.
I was gonna say they were sick about not getting Stingley and the Commanders scooping it up, but they got Kyle Hamilton. So maybe I don't know. Harrison Smith getting kind of old, but I mean he could probably Harrison be like blitzing in the box, whereas Kyle can be like that rangy single high or whatever, 2 high safety that you need. So
For what it's worth, I would flip these 2 picks. I could flip these 2 picks easily, in my opinion. I could easily see the Commanders taking Kyle instead, and then the Vikings taking Stingley. So then we get to Houston at 13 again, and a lot of people's edge 3 is still on the board. So I give him Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State, mostly because if Kyle was here, I think they'd take Kyle. But he's not, so I give him the third edge. You got offensive lineman, and there's not a wide receiver I would justifiably take here. For them, for their purposes, and like where they are in a rebuild, they just have too many holes. And I would value Jermaine Johnson over pretty much every receiver in this draft, probably. And then we get to Baltimore. What do you think Baltimore should go? Before I guess.
Receiver, please, receiver.
They drafted Rashad Bateman last year, no one. They drafted Hollywood. They got Mark Andrews. They got J.K. Dobbins coming back. I think they just got unlucky with injuries. What? Defensively, McDuffie's gone. Sauce is gone. Stingley's gone. They need like D-line. They D-line pretty old. They got Calais, and I don't know if they re-signed Justin Houston back. And he's pretty old too.
Their edge is pretty in a decent place. Obviously, they have away, but that's kind of like end of list there.
Linebacker. I know they lost Deshaun. I say you go receiver, because I feel like if they go receiver, that'll show Lamar like, okay, we're really all in on you, like we're trying to, help you out as much as we can, and because there's been no negotiation with his contract, and I know he does his own, negotiations and stuff, but I think that'll show him like we truly want this to work out and for you to be long term. So here we are, just giving you more ammo. You got Hollywood, you got Rashad, and whoever they take at receiver, gonna be a playmaker because we only got one receiver taken off the board right now. So,
yeah. So I give them Garrett Wilson. I thought long and hard about giving them Jordan Davis. I thought long and hard about it just because I think he justifiably is for a while I was like, do you really spend a top pick for a defensive tackle that's only going to play maybe 45% of snaps or something like that for you, maybe 50 at most. But at the end of the day, it kind of goes to the Daniel Jones argument in that Lamar still doesn't have his contract extension. So I don't know if there's some type of disagreement in his value to the franchise or what, or if he really doesn't care as much as I feel like he should right now. Cause guaranteed money, I want guarantees. And you're about to go out here and play another season before this extension comes up. You go out here and tear something or like that, and then there goes that guarantee.
Money.
So I think that from the Ravens' perspective, you give him another receiver and Garrett Wilson, and you essentially say if you can't do it with all that I've all the resources that I've dedicated to you, then like I said, I believe in Lamar and I think he should get an extension. But if from their perspective, if you give him all this and you still don't believe in him, then it's at the point bro, I'm not gonna extend you, or you're not gonna get what you want, in my opinion, from their management perspective. But
I don't know, man. It just seems like it's hard for you to just say I'm getting rid of an MVP though, because it's
I agree, but why haven't you extended him? Why? Everyone around him is getting extended.
Because I think it's just not a big deal to him.
I don't think he asked for one. I really don't believe he care. Which is weird, but the franchise fuck it, okay.
But it's costing them more and more money waiting. It's costing them more and more money waiting. If they had done it earlier, they probably would have saved tens and tens of millions.
I don't know, man. I don't know, because it's I've seen that report where
Derek Carr just got $40 million a year, bro. You're costing yourself so much money.
Lamar, let's get this done. think he cares.
I don't think they get rid of Lamar, even if like the season don't go as well as planned.
I don't think they do either, but I think it's like a negotiating tool for them.
Like he hasn't like he hasn't done the purge on his social media where like he deletes everything like from the Ravens and everything and
because he just not
affiliated with
gonna
them.
do that.
Like
He's not that type of person.
yeah, like pretty much every other tweet about the Ravens and like how can the Ravens get better and stuff like that. Like if you follow Lamar on Twitter, like every other tweet is literally like either about the Ravens or around the Ravens. So like I think he wants to be a Raven. I honestly just don't think he cares. And like whether that's a good,
maybe I care more than he does.
Like whether that's a good or bad.
It's not
thing,
smart.
like,
It's not smart at all. I don't think
it's not smart. But it's just like I think he wants to be a Raven, but it's just like his sense of urgency of like getting it done. Like he's not sending like cryptic messages like Kyler Murray or Deebo Samuel and just like, yeah, like I want to get traded or I want an extension. Like he just like kind of just living in the moment. Like, all right, like I'm playing with y'all next year. I want to play with y'all, but like we don't really got to talk about this shit right now. You know what I'm saying?
He going with the Tom Brady approach without accomplishing what Tom Brady's done. Like I feel like he just like they gonna take care of me regardless. Like I feel like he on that, but like and I'm not about to do what Kyler doing. I'm not about to sit out. I'm not about to hold out. Like that's just not in me to do. That's what I think. Just seeing his tweets, like he tweet all the time.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, every other tweet be about like the Ravens. So I mean, like he want to be there.
Yeah, like I said, I agree from the perspective. It's just like weird to me, like why you wouldn't sign. You're costing yourself money, as like the Ravens organization. But in that day, like I feel like the offense is what fails them. That's why I didn't pick Jordan Davis here. And that kind of like kicks off a little bit of receiver run because next I have Philadelphia taking Drake London.
Big body, compliment Devontae, like it.
And I've seen a lot of people say like, "Oh, it's just going to be another like JJ Arcega-Whiteside."
They moved in a tight end.
Yeah, and I'm like, JJ was not what Drake London was coming out of college.
No,
like, there's a big difference.
Wasn't JJ? JJ was the first round. No, he was. Yeah, he wasn't first round, but he was taken before DK Metcalf. That's why Eagles fans upset because he was taken before DK. I believe that's the argument.
Is that JJ or is that Wait, hold on. I think I got receivers messed up. JJ or
he was picked 57th overall.
Yeah, so he was taken before DK. He was taken before DK. Who?
Jalen Reagor was first round. Yeah. Which they be doing him both. Partly justifiably, but
right. He's so it's justified. I really can't say much. Like, dang, like you got to catch the ball. Like,
I'll be wondering what he be doing in practice because they be like, "This is uncharacteristic." I'll be like, "This is his characteristic. I've seen it for 8 games now." Like, what am I missing? He's like, this is very uncharacteristic of this receiver. That's what the team's saying. I'm like, where is he doing this stuff?
I mean, I could kind of see that with receiver though, kind of like the game like being live affects you a lot. Like when he's probably running on air and stuff, or in like 7-on-7, or you're not tackling and stuff. It probably looks great. It probably looks great for a lot of guys, and then. People start hitting, or them Philly fans start talking about your mama and shit, and then it just gets bad, bro.
They start throwing stuff.
Oh my god,
bad, bro. Yeah, but I like that Drake London pick. I think, and like they compare it to JJ. No, Drake London is a way better prospect than JJ coming out. Come on now.
So then next we have another receiver to New Orleans Saints. This is from the Dolphins. That is. To who is this pick to? Oh, this is via the Dolphins for. Do I got this pick? I know they pick here. Maybe I have the V wrong. Anyway,
this is Saints
from. Pick. Yeah, this is the Saints pick. I'm trying to remember where this one came from because they did like a big like shift around because they have like the Colts pick this year because they traded with the Eagles, and then the Eagles have a pick. I had another pick from I don't know. Anyway, because the Eagles had 3 first-round picks this year. They had one from the Colts, one from
I think the Eagles traded that one to the Saints.
They traded one to the Saints, but they got it from somewhere else. Where'd they get it from?
I don't know how they got 3
They got a 20. They got it. It was a 2023. They got another one.
Was this
for 2020? They got 2 this year. They got one for 2023. I think it might have been. It should have been from. It's from the Saints.
Yeah, but they had 3 this year. Now they have 2 because they traded this one to the Saints and got one next year. So I'm trying to figure out where this 3rd pick came from that they traded to the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
I have Miami written here, but how did it get to? Was it like because Miami must have traded to someone, then it got traded to the Eagles. Anyway, I got them taking Chris Olave, the Saints at 16, just because they need a receiver.
Zone 6, but Michael Thomas.
Oh, you.
Zone 6.
And it sounds like they gonna run with Jameis, so shit. I guess y'all got it.
Might as well. Y'all got it. Hey, Taysom Hill.
I think Chris will fit. I think Chris will fit in well there, regardless if you think of him as good a receiver.
Where is Kenny Pickett? Where is Kenny Pickett, man, for you?
Have him at.
I think
we'll get there. So then at 17 to the Chargers, we got Jordan Davis. I mean, I think this is a no-brainer. I think they would be so elated for this to happen in the draft. I think he could justifiably go way earlier. Yeah, I mean, they've done everything. I wrote in here, I was like,
linebacker.
That Browns game is like ingrained in my head. Just Nick Chubb just running all over them for like, I don't even know. Him and Kareem were just, it was bad. But I mean, this is an immediate fix. And someone, like, I put this the same way as we talked about Max Crosby. Like, Jordan Davis could justifiably be like a top 10 or 5 pick if you think he can be what you think, if he becomes what you think he can be. Like, if someone said you can get Vita Vea at 22 or 21, whatever he was when he came out, on a rookie deal for a top 5 pick, you take that. Like, you take that. So this is what Jordan Davis could be and possibly more. Like,
is that your comp? Is that your comp, Vita?
No, there's not a comp for Jordan Davis.
There's
not a comp because he's like as big as fucking Vince Wilfork, but is faster than like every other D tackle to come out.
Like, bro. What was his 40? Like 4?
It was 4.8. Yeah, 4.8. That was like 90. It was like 99th percentile for like D tackles of all sizes, not just 350 pounders.
Can you imagine getting hit by him?
Bro, what?
Hey, bros, huh?
Cooked.
Yeah,
so then at 18, Philly's back up on the clock. This is the Saints pick that they got in that deal, and they take Devin Lloyd, who's the best linebacker in the draft, I think, undoubtedly. And essentially, like, he's not Micah Parsons, but you get your version of Micah Parsons to go play against Dallas with. Like, Devin Lloyd can do it all. He's not as good as Micah Parsons, but he can blitz, he can rush, he can run sideline to sideline. I don't think he's like talked about enough personally how like impactful he could be to a team. But I think part of it's because he gets typecast into being a middle linebacker, but I think he's a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Mike is such a unicorn.
For sure.
Never seen nothing like that in my life. He was playing the end.
Stand up, put your hand in the ground.
But Lloyd's also, inside. I think, like 240, 250. So he's like much bigger and still runs a 4.6, whereas Micah's maybe like what, 225, 230. But he ran like a 4.3 or 4.4.
Yeah, Micah was fast.
Fast as hell. Then we're back to New Orleans Saints, and I know we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I don't like Trevor Penning all that much, but I think the league likes Trevor Penning. I probably wouldn't take him in the first round. But I could see him going in the first round.
He's so garbage, y'all. He's so garbage.
And I think it's off of traits, not maybe. I think he's kind of raw, but I think it's mostly off of traits. Like, he is big and strong now. Like, I pretty much said here, I'm mad about him, but I think the Saints have, like, if you think you can make a run, you have to replace that tackle loss.
Armstead.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true.
So, up until this point, I mean, we're at pick 20, and we've had one quarterback go off the board.
Who's next? Who's
sitting
that?
here, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are on the clock, and I don't think Tomlin can pass up on Malik. I think like it's probably his dream come true.
Bruh, I know he was in. I know he been in hell the last 2 to 3 years working with Big Ben. He like, oh my
Dog.
God, thank you.
And I mean, I said this a little bit. I think the other, I don't remember what episode this was, but I think that like arguably the Steelers could be better with Mitch than they were with Ben, because
Oh,
Ben, like, he lost he didn't have any of what made him good. He was a great deep ball thrower and he couldn't get tackled. But then late in his career, he was a fridge that couldn't hit anything but like quick passes. So like you lost everything that made him great. So I think arguably they're a better team with Mitch. Do they do better? I don't know, because the AFC is getting tough, but you can move the pocket and stuff like that with Mitch. And I think Malik slots in nicely. If you want to sit him for a year, you have Mitch on a 2-year deal. And then, come next year, you roll him on out there. And I mean, Mike Tomlin is going to coach you out of picking high for a quarterback every single year. So you're never going to get a chance at like a quarterback with like traits like this. So I think you just kind of take the shot. Their defense is really good. They have receivers. Their offensive line isn't terrible. It probably could be better, but there's not one to justify being picked over Malik Willis. So,
right. Yeah, no, I like that pick. I think I agree. I feel like the Steelers, they're not gonna have another shot at this because they always gonna be competitive and stuff. So if you got a chance to go get them, go get them.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that think they might trade up and do this, but
Yeah. I don't think Mitch justified not picking a first round talent.
Oh, for sure.
I was thinking like you can get different talent and still have Mitch, but Mitch ain't really proved himself. So it's gonna be some quarterback competition for sure with this class.
So now we have the New England Patriots, and not a super flashy pick, but Bills drafted plenty of offensive linemen in the first round. He's going to take Zion Johnson out of Boston
No
College.
speed.
They just traded Shaq Mason to Tampa, so I think they just replenish here.
Shaq in Tampa?
Not Shaq Mason, sorry. Shaq. Shaq. What's his last name? Shaq Lawson? Shaq Lawson.
Shaq Lawson? Yeah, Shaq Lawson. If you're talking about a defensive player, you're talking about a defensive player, right?
No, Shaq Mason. Yeah, Shaq Mason. Yeah, Shaq Mason was their offensive guard.
The guard?
Yeah.
They got Bucks got Shaq?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
They traded him.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So he got rid of Shaq, and I ain't going to doubt, Bill gets rid of guys before like they're going to fall off. So he's always shown to be optimal at doing that. He's drafted plenty of first round linemen, so I think he traded and he replaces them, partly to protect his quarterback, but then also
they need speed, man.
That dynasty was built on the run game. And yes, I agree they need speed, but there's not like a receiver here personally that I would take, because like Jameson is on the board.
Speed offensively and defensively.
That's fair.
You
so just in general.
Yeah, they still got some picks. So I think that Bill is terrible at drafting offensive, like skill players in the first round, like offensive skill players. Yeah. So he just has to go bread and butter here for me personally.
And they got a new OC.
If Devin Lloyd was here, I think he's the pick for sure.
Yeah, he'd have picked for him. Yeah, because get Dante Hightower, just not what he used to be, and yeah.
I could also see like a guy like Daxton Hill going here, but just because I like Daxton Hill a lot.
Yeah, just because you like Daxton.
Now we have the Green Bay Packers with their pick from the Vegas Raiders, and
Treylon Burke.
They take Treylon Burke. They gotta take a receiver. Like, I don't care if like 7 receivers went before this pick. Pick 22 has to be the 8th receiver. Like, no matter what. Like, you can't leave here without getting a receiver at this pick. Because their defense is straight. Like, you didn't have Jair all last year, and now you're getting him back. You didn't have Zadarius all last year. You lost him, but he wasn't there most of the year anyway, so your defense isn't bad. You signed Clark back, so in the end of the day, your offense is what failed you. So you have to try and replace Devontae. And this is the closest you gonna get to it, I guess.
The closest.
So the next up, we have the Cardinals at 23, and I got them taking Devontae Wyatt, who I think arguably could be like a top 15 player in the draft too. The D tackle, D lineman out of Georgia, who is a little bit different than Jordan. He's like a really explosive disruptor. And I thought about receiver here, but I think the guys that they would look to replace Kirk can be found in day 2 and day 3. So I don't think they need any of these receivers here. There's a big tier drop off for Wyatt. So even though their defense is like really young and upcoming and they have a lot of pieces, you lost Chandler, but I think you just get an elite player here to help out, and they could justifiably probably take an interior guy here, but I don't think that they do because it's just how they operate there. They just want Kyler to run around with his head cut off.
Run around a little midget. Big old
it's like when you played Bliss the League or whatever, and like you used to put in the codes or whatever, and you're running around with the big heads and shit. Pick 24, Dallas Cowboys. They take Tyler Linderbaum, arguably like the second best lineman in the draft at his position, but he can only play center. Like he can't even probably play guard. Like he is a center because he's not like really like road grader in the run game, but he's just really good in the pass game. So I feel like Dallas just always looks into getting the best players in the draft, and maybe that hasn't produced enough playoff wins, but it just seems to always happen.
Yeah, that's true.
They've had luxuries. I would say that they had luxuries of how to pick. They can pick whatever for real for the most part, most of the time.
For sure. So, who do you guys think the Bills take? You lost to the Chiefs in the AFC divisional round in a high scoring game. But your defense wasn't bad. Like it was top 5 throughout the year. Obviously your offense is still able to score. Where do you go?
Y'all know what I just realized? So they lost to the Chiefs large in part to, Tyreek Hill and everything in that offense. Just to have to turn around and face him twice a year with Jalen Waddle and Mike Gesicki.
With Tua. Yeah, I'd never thought about that.
I'm just like, I know they like, huh? I'm
Cover
like,
4.
The only thing they can hope and pray for is that Tua just can't throw to Tyreek. They just got because they went from losing to them in the division because they lost to them in the championship because of Tyreek, a large part. Then they lost to the division round because of Tyreek. So I mean, like, and now you got to play them twice a year. Like, what
Georgia defensive players we got left?
What Georgia defensive players?
That's a good point though. That Georgia defense is like one of the best all time. Like when you look at it on paper, like they arguably have 5-6 first rounders.
What Georgia defense? What Georgia defense? What do the Bills need? They got. I mean, like I feel like their defense already. Be like they got,
don't
like,
need anything. They're a team that can take anything right now. But it's like, where do you
running back? Like they say, like Isaiah Spiller or something.
I don't know, bro. Who they got at tight? They got Knox still at tight end.
Yeah,
they got Knox and they paid they gave 1-year deal to from Tampa, from Alabama.
This when you pick a receiver.
Yeah, they took a receiver. They lost. I mean, I know Cole Beasley was a good slot for them. They don't got Emmanuel Sanders, so it's only Stephon and Gabriel Davis. So I think you go another receiver because you got Josh Allen, and you want to get the most out of him because they really don't need much.
I don't know who you pick at receiver. Who you picking?
I don't know either. They might trade that pick.
They might trade that pick. I would trade.
They might trade that pick.
Maybe they do, but I didn't do trades, so I feel like I'm bucking trends here, and I have them taking Breece Hall.
Breece Hall over Isaiah Spiller.
And I think a lot of people have Hall and like Kenneth 1 and 2, and I could justifiably see like Kenneth, but I think they've been struggling to find like it's kind of goes to like the wide receiver play. Like they've been struggling to find someone else to make plays for them, like to really like get them extra. And
Yeah.
Moss and Singletary can barely get what they're given, let alone anything extra. And they have to go back and forth between the two because Devin's not a great pass. Like he's a good, decent pass catcher, but he can't pass block well. So I think you get a 3-down back and someone that can get you more than what they're given, and he's a really good pass catcher. Like if you go watch, like if you don't want to go dive into film, just go watch highlights of him. He has like a lot of good plays of him being able to catch the ball out of the backfield, down the field even. I think it just elevates their offense to something that they haven't had. I thought about corner here. I couldn't find a receiver that was worth the pick, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I think they just think I think personally, Brees and Kenneth are separated from the rest of the pack at running back. And I don't know if they think that one will make it back to their second pick. So I think they just take one now.
All right.
I like it.
That's fair.
I like it.
Then pick 26, Tennessee Titans. This is just such a Vrabel guy. I don't really have much explanation. Is George Karlaftis from Purdue, the D end, just like a pure disruptor. And
Add to Justin Simmons and Harold Landry, huh?
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's like a no-brainer for Tennessee. Like he just fits that mold and that defense and culture really well. And I think they're another team that doesn't need a lot. Like you can improve in places, obviously, but you got Robert Woods, so you filled like a wide receiver role with like what, a 4th or 5th.
He's gonna give you more production than Julio.
Yeah, for sure. So, and I think they got Did they get Austin Hooper? I think they might have gotten Austin Hooper. And you can say what you want about Austin Hooper, but it's not a bad addition. Like it's not a minus. So, they helped their offense a little bit, and they could maybe go offensive line here, but I don't think there's a tackle on the board, so that ends up being an interior guy. And Georgia's probably the best prospect on the board at this point. So then we get Tampa Bay Bucks. We did the mock the other day. Tate, I gave him Kair again here. I think it just makes sense to give them, to give them more corner help. That front seven is elite. Their offense is elite. They just got hit by the injury bug hard in the back seven. You help negate that here with getting another like elite corner. He's in Florida already. Keep him in Florida. So then we get to pick 28 with the Green Bay Packers, and I did not know what to pick here. Like I said, the defense is good.
Another one.
The offense is what lets you down. You don't need offensive line. You don't need running back. Like, there's no edge really at this point anymore. I gave him another receiver. And it's not a receiver that I would rank in the first round, but I think with getting Traylon, you feel like an archetype that you don't have with Sky Moore at this pick.
Like it.
In that you get someone who has another guy with fantastic yak ability, 4.4 speed that can like hopefully give you more than what is there. Kind of like Randall Cobb in his earlier years, because he's not giving you that anymore. And like the Amari Rodgers thing, I don't think that's going to work out that well. It doesn't look like he's going to be like a super, I don't know, even a role player on that team. So you have a possession guy in Lazard. You have a big body X in Traylon who can also make plays, and then now you get someone with some speed to help elevate. And hopefully between like those two picks, if one of them hit, like even if they semi-hit, like your wide receiver room is like in a decent spot from where it was, and they signed Sammy Watkins for whatever that is worth. It's not worth much, but it's better than, I guess, what wide receiver you didn't have. So then we are to the Chiefs. Back-to-back picks here. Where do you guys go with back-to-back picks for the Chiefs?
Sky Moore gone hurts them. Gosh.
Who?
Sky Moore leaving with the Packers hurts them. I feel like that was like probably their first one.
There is one.
Ooh.
And this is a guy that I think that's going to have, and I think me and Dre were talking about it yesterday. This is a guy that I think that's going to have a really good pro career. He plays receiver. Got hurt. I say they go with George Pickens.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I like it. Is
George
he fast?
Pickens. Yes, he's like
Yeah.
he's like a specimen. He just got
He
hurt.
runs like a gazelle.
Yeah.
He runs like a gazelle.
That's the pick.
What do you think about the other pick? There's two. They have two back to back.
I say George Pickens is the first. Gotta probably go defensive, right? Because the offense really don't really need a lot. Do they need help off on a line?
I don't think they need it. Like every team could use it, but given the other holes, there's probably.
Yeah. I mean, you can probably
They're
just get
going
it later,
defensive.
right? Yeah, go defense.
Yeah.
Did Hill get picked already?
He
Dax
did not.
Dax.
Yeah,
Oh, that could be.
might
Yeah, that could be.
That's
Yeah,
it.
that might be.
That's
That'd
it.
be the other pick because they do need a safety. You got pair him up with Juan Thornhill, so George and Dax.
So that was my first thought. Is like I'll give them Dax. You replace whatever you lost in Tyrann, and then they get a receiver. But I went about it in a little bit of a different way. So I personally don't know how much I like this pick that I made, but I gave them Christian Watson, and I think it's just like even though Pickens is fast, like Christian Watson's speed like makes fast people look slow, and whether I agree with the North Dakota State talent and all that type of stuff, it seems like the league is much higher than him than probably public is.
That was my sleeper. That was my sleeper pick. I like it.
So yeah, that's who I gave them.
I like the pick. I think for me, I think Pickens is getting higher because we've seen like even with like people like Trayvon Walker, we see like guys like shooting up draft boards and stuff. And the only thing that really hampered Pickens was he got hurt, and like that's done now. Like he's pretty much healthy, so like he might not have like all the film there because they had the COVID year and stuff too. So he don't got as much.
I think the big thing that led me to Christian Watson here over Pickens, because they were both looking me in the eye there, and it was mostly the fact that, not saying that Pickens doesn't have yak ability, but like that's what like Tyreek's like that's what he did for you. He got you. He could give you 60 yards on a slant, and I think Christian Watson is like the closest thing you're gonna get to like replicating that at this point in the draft, is like a guy that can take something small and give you such a huge gain out of it. Even though I have Pickens higher on my board. I do. I agree.
I think Kansas City was like their offense is gonna be different now. It's not gonna be like that like big play like like because of the threat of Tyreek Hill. Like they said it was gonna be like more like spread out. So I feel as though like they're just gonna take their time more like and just spread the love around. So like you got Travis. Mecole is more like a gadget player per se. They got another tight end too, Bell. So they'll probably use a lot of like two tight end personnel sets more this year too, where they can just spread the ball around more. But I don't think they'll be necessarily looking to obviously want to score, but like score as fast as they did because they had Tyreek and then they had Mecole. They got Juju. So I feel like now it's going to be like more of an offense where they just like, spread it around and methodically just like drive and probably just like kill some time off. So I mean like, yeah, Christian Watson could be like that, I guess, replacement for like Tyreek, but nobody's really Tyreek, So I mean, I don't disagree with the pick. I feel like they go with another receiver because you just have Juju, Mecole, and
this is another situation
MVS.
where like,
they got MVS too, so they got like speed.
Yeah.
They got speed already. So I mean, like, it would be like just the rich get richer with like more speed. So, I'm not saying I don't like the pick. Like, if they do take Christian, like that'll be nice. But like I think I agree they do go receiver with the first one and then they go defense with the second one.
Yeah, I think it's another like kind of like the Packers' first round pick. Like one of these is a receiver no matter what. Even if the value isn't there and you have to like end up reaching slightly on a guy, like you have to get this position.
You can't go into the season with just Juju, Mecole, and MVS.
And then with the second one, I actually have them take Roger McCreary. I'm not personally that high on Roger McCreary, but I think the league is higher on Roger McCreary. And I thought Daxton Hill, it's easy. You take Daxton Hill in backfill Tyrann Mathieu. But the reason I ended up picking Roger over Daxton was not because I want him to fall to Lions at 32, even though I do, but because you lost Mike Hughes and you lost Charvarius Ward, so you're down both your top corners, and you at least signed Justin Reed to replace what Tyrann was, but you've done nothing to fill the void that you left at corner.
No, yeah, that's true.
So that's the main reason why I went that there. And I think the closest person to Tyrann Mathieu in this draft can be had at them, and Jalen Petrie, however you want to say his name. I think he could probably be had in the second round at one of their picks there. So that's probably the main reason why I didn't.
No thing about Andrew Booth. I know you said the league was high on Roger McCreary, but no Andrew Booth.
Yeah, I love Andrew Booth, and I actually have him going in the second round to the Jets. Just because he's there, and he's actually my number, my top. He's a top 3 corner for me, but I just think that the league's higher probably on Roger. I actually have Jalen Armour Davis going right after this to the Cincinnati Bengals out of Alabama, the cornerback that they had. So mostly because they just don't have any needs. They filled a lot of their needs in free agency at their offensive line. They have everything handled on their offense, or should. The defense is pretty good. You're just trying to find good players to help in that AFC. There's a lot of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And then to close out the Lions, like I said, Daxton Hill is my favorite player in the draft. And I don't think he'll go 32. I think he's more deserving of going much higher in the draft. But that's just how the mock shook out and that he fell here. So I think that's an easy pick for me. I think he's much closer to being the best safety in the draft than a lot of people would believe. But I understand Kyle Hamilton being one. He's the one still number 1 for me, but I love Daxton Hill.
Cool. Like it.
All right. So to close out, I want to do a couple quick, I guess, draft props. And how many quarterbacks do you guys think go in the first round this year? Because I only had 2. So to go back to Dab's question, I have Kenny Pickett going in the second round to the Saints. Because I just don't think there's not a lot of need for him in the first round. And maybe he ends up going in the first, but just how this shook out, and I just don't think there's that many quarterbacks deserving of it. He just ended up falling, kind of like he did in our fan mock draft 2 weeks ago, or Howell did. But
I say 2.
I got 3. Mm-hmm. Somebody's gonna reach. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be Corral, Kenny, and Malik gone in the first round.
Yeah, that's fair. There's a lot of people that like Ritter. I don't see what people like so much.
Yo, Ritter is dog shit. I hate Ritter.
I don't not know what people see in Ritter. And that's not an knock against him. He's just definitely a third rounder for me, in my opinion. How many wide receivers do you think go in the first round? Because it's so crazy how there's no top end receivers like there has been in the last few years, but arguably more could ever go now than ever just because of the wide receiver market.
I say 6, 5, 6. Whoever you have in your top 5, and then the one. So I got Jameson Garrett, Traylon Drake, Chris, George Pickens, or Christian Watson. Maybe 7. I might go 7.
That'd be nuts.
Yeah,
and I don't disagree with you, but that's just wild. 1, 2. I had 7 in this, so
yeah, I'll go 7. I say 7 for me.
I agree.
Okay. And then the last one I will pose is: do more offensive or defensive players go in the first round this year?
Defensive.
100%. I feel like this draft is defensive. It's like a draft for teams to catch up defensively. We're just really good. Just like it might not be the household names, but just like I feel like I was saying, I feel like there's like a lot of good pros are going to come out of this draft. Like not saying Hall of Famers, but just good for their teams.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that people use the unpredictability of this draft to knock the top end talent, but I think it's more of a testament to its depth. I know I was talking with you, Tay, and how Peter King was talking with Peter Schrager, and like the Saints obviously traded for an extra first round pick, but like he was saying how the Saints believe that they can get 3 guys in their top 25 in their first 3 picks. Mm. Well, if you do the math, the Saints don't have 3 picks in the top 25. It's because draft boards vary so much more this year than they seem to ever have. So we will see. But overall, that closes out this week. I am really excited for this draft. We will come back with some summarizations of our thoughts, probably some winners and losers. But hopefully everyone starts to enjoy what seems to be spring coming. You know,
yes, sir. Get outside.
Do some spring cleaning. Do some spring cleaning. Get in the sun. Keep your Zyrtec on hand. And we'll talk to you next week. Man.
I was about to beat my ass hard enough.
Have a good one.